morning, Will. Welcome to Friendship Beyond Methodist Church. I'd like to say Happy Mother's Day to all mothers. We pray that this day will be a blessed day for all of you. And we pray that God has been blessing you in a awesome way and a special day for you, and allow all the bells and whistles, for we know that Mother's Day is a special day. And so, with that in mind, we call your attention to Romans 16, 1 through 2. Listen for the word of the Lord. I commend to you our sister Phoebe, a deacon of the church of Censoria, so that you may welcome her in the Lord as is fitting for the saints, and help her in whatever she may require from you. For she has been a benefactor of many and of myself as well. I'd like to use for a title here today, a woman worth celebrating. Here we see in this, if one truly think about it, in modern Western society, black women are at a very high, powerful stance in society. After many doors and opportunities for women were closed, and had it not been for those who suffered years ago, many of the doors of success for women would still be closed. Dr. Dorothy Heights once said, "If no one suffered before you, and then great is your suffering and trials before you." Dr. Heights went on to say, "So many are seeking success, fortune, grand opportunities, and the corporate ladder, but few are willing to work for it, give their time, or even lend a helping hand to bless others. Yet, at the same time, pioneers of days gone by have opened doors, and today many are closing them." Dolores S. Williams deals with this paradox in her book, Sisters in the Wilderness. Dolores Williams suggests that African American black women heritage is linked to the story of Hagar. But she stresses, in order for black women to continue their thrive to excellence, then they must truly recognize and understand their story. Williams suggests that black women were not complainers, but doers. Before Red Cross, black women were volunteers of service. Williams pointed out that many brothers dream, but sisters were the ones that put action in their vision. This is paramount with Harriet Tubman leading hundreds of slaves into freedom, Mary McLeod Bethune, who transformed a city garbage heap with $1.50 into a higher education structure. If Rosa Parks had not sat down, there would have not been a reason for Martin Luther King Jr. to stand up then. had Lucy Craft Laney, who became the founder and the principal of Haynes Normal Institute in Georgia, raised money herself to open a school in 1886. Charlotte A. Bass, who was chosen unanimously by the Progressive Party convention in 1952 to run for Vice President of the United States. Jean Baptiste Point DuBois built the first home in Chicago, 1784, and Dr. Macy Jameson became the first black woman astronaut. Toni Morrison was the first black American to win the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1993. Years have come and gone. Still we have seen women given their time, skill, ability, and tears for great cause, and for the time to come. No, God chose a woman to bring human life into the world. When God chose to become human, he chose a woman to bring Jesus in the world. There should be somebody in their thought. Then it should make you wonder. You should be able to celebrate that it does not have to be your mother. There have been possibly others who have helped you because you had to be on this journey, maybe by somebody who has helped you, by a female who may not have been your mother. And that is to be celebrated today for the fact when we look around and we see the greatness of God's fingerprints, that God is using women all around us in so many ways. When we arrive at this text, Paul urges us to celebrate women, but he wants us to celebrate those who are worthy to be celebrated. Paul is calling us to celebrate women of greatness, character, goodness, and those who recognize God in our lives. Phoebe was no doubt a special person because Paul says, I commend you, our sister Phoebe, a woman worth celebrating, should be special, not ordinary. There are qualities in living, not words, make them special. Phoebe had business which called her to Rome, where she was a stranger. Therefore, Paul recommends her to the acquaintance of the Christians there. Now, observe here. When one's life, character, and action, and talk and walk reveals that they are a Christian, you do not have to compliment them. You just speak the truth concerning them. And what a marvelous thing to do. Not only was Phoebe worthy of celebrating because she was a special person, but she had also a special purpose. Her purpose was to serve God first. When one serves God, then he he or she becomes a worker, a servant, an instrument, an ambassador for Christ. Not from lip service, but from giving of your time or deeds. Her character was so loving and genuine until Paul introduced her as our sister. When one is in Christ, then their ways, thoughts, mind, and heart should reflect that of Christ. I commend you, our sister Phoebe, a deacon of the church. Some folk got a title in the church but failed to live up to the function or the role of the title. They went to be an officer that leads but will not work, that match the title. But Phoebe was a widow who ministered to the sick. She entertained strangers and ministers at her home. Jesus said on one occasion, "Whosoever shall receive one of such children in my name receives me. And whosoever receives me receives not me, but him that sent me." In other words, Jesus is saying, those who are humble, meek, self-denying, resemble him most and acknowledge him. They shall encourage others to do likewise. This was Phoebe. No doubt many of us are saved in church because of a woman like Phoebe. A woman worth to be celebrated is a special person who has a special purpose. Women like Miller Granson, who connected with a slaveholder, who taught her how to read, and then who connected with other slaves and taught them how to read, because they learned to read many of these slaves and passages and escape into Canada. Paul says in verse 2, so that you may welcome her in the Lord as is fitting for the saints, and help her in whatever she may require from you. It is not enough to celebrate specialness or special purpose, but you must learn how to receive them. That's it right there. You got to learn how to receive them. They are to receive her in the Lord. She comes not as a stranger to you, but as one of God's children. There are no strangers in God's family. The only strange thing is those who want to be in, but not transformed completely into the fold. When we are truly transformed to become new creatures in Christ, we are like brothers and sisters being able to get along. Because some brothers and sisters can't get along, they are to welcome her as is fitting for saints. A woman worth celebrating must be received with love. A woman once celebrated must be received with honor and great affection. Those who love Christ, it is our duty to receive those in our care with the same love we have for Christ. Phoebe was coming to relieve many who were in need and distress and needed to be lifted up. She would need their help as well. She would need them to assist her. Harriet Tubman would not have received help from free blacks and white abolitionists. Her vision and aim would have been in vain. Thus, the church must learn, if we're to make great strides in life, become productive, become great people, then we must learn to help each other, not fight, not lie on each other, not trip each other up, but help lift each other. Our strive should be to help pull each other up, live by God's word, then by and by we'll all be worthy to be celebrated. When the morning comes, we'll all be worthy to be celebrated. If we come together and realize that we serve a God and serve one who's worthy, we'll all be worthy to be celebrated. And that's what life is all about. My prayer to you today is, during this time of a pandemic, it's time to celebrate. Even in the midst of this pandemic, still celebrate. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Pray with me. Eternal and everlasting Father, Lord, we give you thanks for who you are and what you do. You're so worthy. You're so awesome. Grant down your peace. Grant down your grace among us. It is you that we come and give our all to. It is you. We realize we're nothing without. So hold us up on both sides. We come to celebrate all the wonderful things that you have bestowed upon us in this day. We celebrate our life, health, and strength. We celebrate all the greatness that you have bestowed upon us. Let us not count it robbery when we fail to not look at what you are doing. For it is in your name, Lord, we realize who you are. Continue to grant us peace and serenity. In your name we pray.